It's the Wickersham Leader Show with today's episode. This is Kremlin Country. Hello, everybody. It's me, your host, and your Game Master Wickersham Leader. Welcome. As we continue our Donkey Kong Bonanza marathon leading up to the release of the game, we've moved on to Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Kong Quest. Pay attention to that title. A lot of people get it wrong. Diddy's Kong Quest, not Diddy Kong's Quest, although there's actually a lot of reason for that confusion, and we'll actually see that in a minute when I start going over the pre-release stuff. So we went over Donkey Kong Country and Donkey Kong Land, and it brought Donkey Kong back in a big way. But the next game that is in the franchise wouldn't actually feature the guy as a playable character, which is probably one of the most shocking things I've ever seen when it comes to a game series. Could you imagine if after Mario 2, Luigi just was the main character for the next one, and then they just didn't bring Mario back for the third one either? Because that's what happened with this game series, and it's very strange, very unusual that this actually happened the way it did. But let's take a look at some of the pre-release stuff for Donkey Kong Country 2 and see just how we got here. So thankfully, we actually have a video of E3 1995 that I came across, which shows Donkey Kong Country 2 at the convention. And we can see, and 1995 was the first E3 ever. So we got to see a lot of what they were showing people before the game came out. Oh, yeah, they were also showing off the Virtual Boy. Donkey Kong Country 2 was actually planned to be on Virtual Boy at one point. It's crazy. Just one guy manages to have this footage from a hand cam back in 1995, and now we get to see this event that was hardly publicized. Because back when E3 first came out, it was more of a place for companies to show off to prospective stores, other game developers, things like that. It didn't really turn into this massive event that was designed to drum up hype for upcoming video games for the average consumer. It was more so here just for developers. Let me skip around a little bit. They got a big Cruncha cutout up there. Here we go. Here, look at this. Early title screen. It actually was called Diddy Kong's Quest early in development. And they changed it at some point to Diddy's Kong Quest because they liked the pun more. But everybody kept thinking it's Diddy Kong's Quest even today. You'll find that mistake everywhere. And the rest of it is more or less... It's not like a complete build of the game, but it's a more finished version. Oh, wow, that's actually pretty cool that they start off... That pun took them weeks. They were so proud. I think it's interesting. I never saw that before. When you start the game, it starts with a pan down from K. Rool's Keep down to Gangplank Galleon. That's actually really cool, and I wish they kept that in the final game. Let me scroll around to see if there's anything else that's new going on with this, because the rest of it just seems like regular gameplay. Oh, well, this background's different. That's a rain effect that I don't remember seeing in the final game. Huh, that's different. And we got some Cannon's Claim from the looks of it. Those barrels are actually slightly different than the ones in the final game. They're exhibiting designs that are more similar to the first game, but it looks like they redid the barrel sprites later again anyways. Interesting. Well, now that we've got that's what they've shown to the public, let's talk about the stuff they didn't show to the public. Well, Well, here's a mysterious character that eluded people for the longest time. This guy's name is Mr. X, and he is a character that was an early version of Cackle, an enemy that chases you in one of the stages. The only reason we even know this guy exists is because he accidentally showed up in a German player's guide for the game. And here's some more pre-release stuff. Wait a minute. Here it is. Yeah, here's an early draft of the Japanese box art. You can still see that it says Quest in the center, and the title screen was animated, as you saw, where it opens like that. Here's a sheet. So they knew they wanted to have a new character, and they made it up to be Diddy Kong's girlfriend. But what they couldn't figure out is her name. Throughout most of development, it seems like they couldn't figure out what to call her. And there's a lot of names here. You can see that all these names are highlighted. None of them are the one they ended up going with. Dixie is there, but you can see Didette, Diddy Ann. They actually ran with Diddy Ann for a while. Dee Dee, Daisy, Dandy, Danny, Darlene, Delia, Dalai Lama. Okay, that was probably a joke. Demi, Deaky, Debo, Dino, Dulip, Duped, Deluxe, Docs, Det, Delicatessen, Dessert, Ducks, Drinky, Dusky, Denny. I don't think that one. I don't think this one in the middle there. I don't think this one in the middle there is what they were actually planning on going with. Dazar, Dairy, Drab, Deary, Deidre, Dana, Deddle, Duckams, Domestus. Lots of names that they just threw around. They also had a hard time coming up with names for the game, if I can remember. Nah, it looks like this one isn't here. There was like... Hold on. DKC2 name concepts. There was... Ah, here we go, thankfully. There it is. Kremlings, The New Batch, Diddy's Wild Frontier, Diddy's Wild Country, Diddy in Wild Country, Diddy's Quest, Kong Quest, Diddy's Kong Quest, Diddy Kong's Quest, Diddy's Kidnapped Conquest, Diddy's Old Graphics in a New Game, Diddy and Female with Hair, DKC2, The Search for Kong, Diddy Kong Country, Kremling Country, K. Rool Justice, DKC2, More of the Same, Old King K. Rool, he's a silly old fool. Where's the one? There's one here that says Diddy's quest for a good name. Diddy's search for a toupee or some hair restorer and some underpants. Like, clearly they were literally just writing every single thing that came to their mind, but it really did seem like they were having a hard time coming up with a name for this stuff. Concepts for King K. Rool, the things he was going to do, concept for Kremlings. Interestingly, they decided to keep it as Claptrap and Crusher, but they instead changed it to Clampin' and Cruncha, which more or less fill the same role, but decided to change it. Cloak is here. The only one that doesn't is Clunk, and I guess they thought that a big plank of wood Kremling wouldn't read too well with the sprites. Kaboom is here, and he's got a different design than Clobber, when in the final game they are basically the same enemy, except one's in a TNT barrel. Level concepts. Like, it's interesting how much stuff around these games. Oh, a silhouette level concept. That didn't make it into the game, but that would make it into the Returns games. That's intriguing. I never, thought. Oh, here's an interesting one. So in Donkey Kong Country 1, neither DK nor Diddy had anything on their clothing. And it looks like they asked Nintendo for some of their ideas, and they sent back some concepts. So Diddy nowadays, with the new design they just released, he's got a pin with the letters DD on it for Diddy. And Dixie was the same thing. They knew they wanted to give her something on the beret, but they couldn't decide what it was. And you can even see here that they had some concepts. And the one that's most interesting is D's K, Diddy's Kong Quest. Like, I don't think you could really keep that on her character design for very long. But they ended up going with the Nintendo logo. Yeah, because you see in this early version that he didn't have it yet, but they added the Nintendo logo to Diddy at a later point. And they decided that Dixie should get the rare pin. And DK got his initials on his tie like he was supposed to originally. And this is when Diddy got the stars on him. Dixie has painted toenails and knee pads. She would lose those later on. But it's also worth noting that Dixie has colored eyes, while neither DK nor Diddy has. Diddy would actually get colored eyes later, but that would take a while for that to show up. The big thing that they were advertising with this game was the introduction of Dixie. Dixie was like the new hotness, somebody that they really wanted to show off. And why not? She's a cool character. Lots of people like Dixie, and her abilities in-game made her all that more cool. Oh yeah, we got some other promotional renders. They made a Mario render for this game. That's for something in the end game, but they actually ended up using that for a couple of promotional materials, albeit very rarely. We got Cranky with a new design. He's looking very nice. He's got 2 canes instead of 1. I guess if they kept this going, he would have gotten a 3rd cane in DKC3. DK has a brand new look. We got new fur. Very snazzy looking fur on this one compared to the sleeves they had in the first game. And of course, with the whole plot being around Donkey Kong being kidnapped, we got a couple of renders of him in a cage, which he doesn't actually have in the final game. It's the 3rd one in his mouth like Zorro. You know what? I could buy that. Funky's got a new design. He's still wearing shorts, but you can't see it. And I think a lot of people interpreted that as him being naked, but he actually is wearing shorts, and you can just barely see them in the first and second games. New sandals, though. New flip-flops. And of course, we got some new Kongs. We got Swanky Kong, he's DK in a coat. He looks exactly like Donkey Kong in a coat. And we got Wrinkly Kong, Cranky's wife, who we actually, through the game, it turns out that she actually taught K. Rool as a teacher. A new picture with all the brand new Kongs. Very nice looking. And we got some new animal buddies. Clapper the Seal. Ungard is using the exact same artwork he had in the first game. Look at that fur on Clapper. Very nicely rendered fur compared to the first game. And then Glimmer with scales and everything. Rambi uses same artwork from the first game. And to replace Winky, we have Ratley, who is more vertical. Which I guess makes sense, because if you're going to be jumping up, right, then it makes sense that you would want to have him be more vertical. And then Squawks has a new design. He's not holding a flashlight anymore. He's carrying us around, and oh my gosh. Look at this little weirdo. Rocking those Nikes with DK on every sneaker. Props, I guess. And I didn't really take a look at the Kremlings last time in their artwork, but they more or less took a lot of the same concepts as the original game, and they turned the whole thing into pirates. Now, why they made the whole game about pirates is because that the game's director had always had basically a lifelong obsession with pirates, and he tried to fit them into like tons of different games that he could. That's probably why K. Rool was on a pirate ship in the first game. He would later go on to work on Project Dream, which also was a game featuring pirates, and I assume he finally got his wish when Rare made Sea of Thieves, and they finally got around to making a game all about pirates. And of course, we have the full renders that they showed off. I really like the looks of these, and I almost wish I could play a game that looks like this. I mean, just look at the environments on display. Look at the way they render it. It all looks so gorgeous. And it's got that distinctive 90s style to it. That it feels real enough. I mean, it's very impressive for 1995, if you ask me. I mean, my goodness, just look at all of that. Very nice stuff. You'd see that all over the place. But enough about that. Let's take a look at the commercials. The main thing they really advertised with this one is that it was harder than the first game. And indeed, I would argue that this game is harder than the first one. By a significant margin.
The beast is back. On the system that keeps pounding out the hits. Super NES. Donkey Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest. It's even tougher than the original.
Both Donkey Kong Country, last year's biggest hit, and Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest, soon to be this
So
year's biggest.
you can actually see in one of these. Here's another one.
Rescue his new friend Diddy Kong's Quest.
And there's another one that actually advertises it as Diddy's Kong's Quest. That must have been a very late decision, considering that most of the levels were done, all the environments were done, the character sprites were done. They just needed to change that title. I guess they really wanted that pun to work.
Diddy and his new friend Dixie Kong attempt to rescue the kidnapped Donkey Kong from the evil King K. Rool. Amazing new levels challenge the duo as Dixie uses her powerful ponytail in incredible ways. Advanced ACM technology delivers the stellar graphics of this.
I mean, at this point in the game,
one or two players
hold on, that's Crow's battle,
one or two
but he looks like Creepy Crow.
simultaneously. 32 meg game.
Interesting. I guess at that point in development, Crow was always going to be a ghost.
As you play one or two players simultaneously.
Man, I wish they kept that animated title screen. That looks interesting. Oh, and of course, this game was also ported to the Game Boy Advance and got its own very, very 2000s advertisement with a very ugly-looking Dixie. That's kind of gross looking. DK swinging around like you're in this game.
Screaming, tag teaming swingers. Dixie and Diddy team
It does
up with
look
new
pretty
friends
chunky.
to save the big game.
I don't know if it looks
Donkey
like
Kong
chunky,
2,
but it's
only
very
for Game Boy
chunky.
Advance.
Oh, and
Game
of course, the Japanese commercial for this game went viral a while ago.
Super Donkey Kong 2!
Oh, but then we get the awesome. This is I listen to this every time I watch these commercials. The music.
スーパードンキーコングの第2弾いよいよ登場期待をはるかに上回る多彩なステージ新しいヒロインディクシーが加わってますます広がるドンキーコングワールド
There's a full version of that song out there somewhere. I just know it. I just know it.
ドンキーコング2新発売
Man, this whole commercial done in 3D arts in the with the crunches and everything. My goodness, it's so it's so gorgeous. It really is. Like these games graphics still impress me even today. Hold on, actually, if you look very closely, there's DK in the barrel back there. It's very hard to see. And of course, there are their commercials for the Game Boy Advance version. This model is somehow even worse than the other one. And they're using the Super Nintendo music there, not the GBA music.
Super Donkey Kong 2
And they're still flexing about how big the game is, right? It's like, we got 32 megs up in this mother. Oh, Canadian French. And they're all using the American commercial as a base here. Oh yeah, they had the German Nintendo comics I mentioned earlier. But it's really nothing too crazy, honestly. Actually, never mind, this is crazy. I've never seen this before. Oh, that's more what you expect. Wait, that riff. I've heard that before. That's in Team Fortress 2 when you get an achievement. Let's actually take a look at this one. This is part of a promotional VHS tape, like the making of Donkey Kong Country, but this wasn't just about Donkey Kong Country 2. This was about a bunch of different games, with a very loose plot tying the whole thing together. Basically, some dudes are infiltrating Nintendo to get information about the new releases.
Donkey Kong Country 2.
I'm not telling you jack. You can kill me and I still wouldn't talk.
Thank you for that option. But my associates and I would prefer to send you on a long vacation.
Oh yeah? Go ahead. Nothing's gonna make me talk. Not even these 3 suits. Gentlemen, have a seat. There are several hooks, barrels, and other items that are invisible throughout the game. To find them, look for single bananas sitting by themselves.
Personally, I think Dixie Kong is the coolest, and I happen to think that her helicopter...
Doesn't this make you want to play the game? This old lady talking about it?
Some hidden tricks can only be found with the help of your animal friends. For example, in the area of Pirate Panic, look for a single banana sitting by itself. You can use your friend Rambi to bash into the wall and find a hidden bonus.
Is that really worth telling me about? I mean, you've got an arrow right there. You're on Rambi. All you gotta do is just try the buttons.
In the first 2 areas of the game, there are shortcut barrels that take you directly to the end of the level. Finding them will make blazing through the first part of the game a cinch.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Very intriguing stuff. But now it's time to play. Let's turn that up a little. It's a little quiet. All right, so DK's been kidnapped. Let's see if let me read off the story for you, actually. I didn't do it for the first game, but I think I might as well for this one. Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Kong Quest. Donkey Kong gulped down the last of his banana milkshake and sighed happily in his old beach chair. This is the life, he thought to himself, the sun beating down on a clear blue sea with no pesky banana-thieving Kremlings to worry about. Lazily, he raised a hand to wave at Funky, who was showing off his surfing expertise out on the waves with squawking seagulls. Donkey Kong settled back and closed his eyes, thinking he'd have a little doze. When he heard the sound of shuffling feet, before he knew what was happening, Cranky Kong bopped him on the head with his cane. "Youch!" he exclaimed, glaring at the snickering old ape standing in front of him. "Well, well," said Cranky. "What do you think you're doing sitting—" Oh, that's a typo. "What do you think you're doing?" They printed that in the manual. "What do you think you're doing sitting around all day? They won't get much of a game out of this, will they? I thought you were supposed to be a big star." "Even stars get time off," muttered Donkey Kong, rubbing his head. "I never did," said Cranky proudly. "Whisking maidens off and throwing barrels around the place 7 days a week, I was. That's how I got to where I am today, you know. Hard work, none of this lazing around on the beach. Why don't you go off and pester Diddy or something?" complained Donkey Kong. "Let me have a bit of peace for once." Cranky snorted. "Ha! He's off somewhere with that girlfriend of his. But still, I can see when I'm not wanted." Grumbling to himself, Cranky shambled off down the beach, leaving Donkey Kong to pull his hat over his eyes. He's wearing a hat. Donkey Kong to pull his hat over his eyes, sinking down into his beach chair and slowly drift to sleep. When night fell and their big buddies still hadn't returned, Diddy and Dixie got worried and went to look for him. As they reached the beach, they saw hundreds of strange-looking footprints that led from the sea to form a big circle around the spot where Donkey Kong's chair laid smashed to pieces. "Kremlings!" Diddy gasped in horror. On top of the bits of chair, they found a note. "To the yellow-bellied land-lumping Kong family. Ha ha! We got the big monkey. If you want him back, you scurvy dogs, you'll have to hand over the banana horde. Captain K. Rule." "I thought we'd seen the last of that old rascal for a while," sighed Wrinkly Kong, Cranky's good-natured old wife, when the rest of the family had read the ransom note. "Well," grunted Cranky, "I suppose we'd better give him the bananas then, hadn't we?" Diddy was shocked. After all we did to get them last time, Donkey Kong would go crazy if he lost his bananas again. "Got any better ideas then, you young whippersnapper?" demanded the old ape. We got to rescue him, of course, said Diddy and Dixie together, but Cranky just laughed. Oh, really? Who exactly is we, hmm? Count me out, dude, said Funky, quickly backing away from the group. I hate adventures. I think I'm a bit old for that sort of thing, said Wrinkly apologetically. And I'm sure it's not gonna do it, snapped Cranky. Not that I'm past my prime, mind you. I can still do a better job than the rest of you put together, but I wouldn't be seen dead in a game that scrolls and has bonus levels and end bosses. What about me? Said Diddy, stamping his foot. I went with Donkey on his last adventure. Why can't I do it? You? Laughed Cranky. You've only been in one game. You didn't even get your name in the title. You think that makes you a hero? Diddy looked discouraged, but Dixie was quick to stand up for him. Give him a chance. He could be a better hero than you ever were, she challenged. Cranky scowled. You think so, do you? You think he can make his way through all those Kremlings and all those traps all by himself? He won't be by himself, she replied. I'm going with him. Diddy stared at her and stared defiantly back. But it's dangerous, he protested. You're not scared, are you? Of course I'm not. Well, neither am I. Don't try to argue. If you're going, I'm going with you. Diddy sighed. He knew a hopeless argument when he saw one, but still, he was Donkey's only hope. Of course, if he managed to rescue his big buddy, he'd be a real video game hero too. Could he ask for a better chance to prove himself? Cranky was looking over shrewdly. All right, he said. If you somehow get back safely from this and bring back that good-for-nothing donkey with you, I'll admit that maybe you have what it takes after all. But if you don't, there will never be more than cheap cameo roles for you in the future, my boy. Diddy stood up straight and proud, ready for his new quest. I'll bring him back. You see, he declared. The others offered him encouragement. Wrinkly gave him a warm smile while Funky offered his hand for a high five. Go for it, little dude. As soon as the sun rose again, the brave young pair set out. It's like a whole fanfic. It is a whole fanfic, isn't it? But that's the story. That's how they wrote stories back in the day in the manuals. Before we begin proper, if we press down a couple of times, you get to the music test here. And they actually do have... They don't have the song's actual names, but they do, like, list them there. DKC1 had a song test as well, but it just played all the songs in order when you press select after inputting the code. It didn't have, like... the names listed. If you go down even further, you get cheat mode. I've never done anything with this, because I don't need to. But let's begin. Gangplank Galleon. Now, I guess Donkey Kong Land released the same year this did, so let's just pretend that didn't happen, because as far as we're concerned, it didn't. And of course, we also get that same note. Now, I don't know what compelled K. Rool to... like, become a pirate, but it's a good look for him. Because we see some big changes in his design this game. Namely, his hands are huge. They made his hands really big so that you can actually see the new gun he's got. We'll see that when we get to him. But really, Donkey Kong Country 2's like aim is to be a lot more explorative than the first one. The developers said, so the first Donkey Kong Country was made to be a game that you could run through hundreds of times and speed run. And they said, and the developers have said, if we did something like that again, I think we'd really exhaust what we could do. So instead of being a game all about speed, they made it a game where you've got to stop and look a little bit more. So the bonus barrels now actually do something. They reward you a Krem coin, which you have to use as currency so you could get extra levels and finally see the real final boss. Starting with the last world of the first game, I think, is pretty ingenious design. And it ties it together pretty well with this whole pirate theme they've got going on. Most of the enemies in this game feel like extensions of what Donkey Kong Country 1 was doing. Like, the clomps feel like critters, and the cannons are clumps, and then we have ones that more or less fill the same niche and kind of have the same thing going on, like Clampin' and Claptrap and Crusha and Crunchin'. And Crusha and Cruncha, excuse me. The only DKC of the classic trilogy to do this, where they give you a reward for finishing it. Donkey Kong Land 3 just goes back to the level ending. Donkey Kong Country 3. But most stages in the game have 2 bonus barrels, compared to the first game, which consistently wasn't consistent. The number of bonus barrels in each level varied anywhere between 0 and 5. Although it usually was 2 or 3. But since this game's bonus barrels are tied to collectibles, you can now re-enter them when you finish, and I guess calling them bonus areas is a bit of a misnomer, since now they're not so much bonuses as they are, like, required, if you want to see everything this game has to offer. I mean, you could just finish the main story and be on your way, but I don't think that's the way you play these games. I think you really gotta go out of your way to try to 100% complete it, because that really gets the most out of it. So we've got redesigned graphics for almost everything. Diddy and Dixie both have new idle animations, as opposed to the first where Diddy takes off his hat and scratches his head. In this game, he will juggle little cubes, and Dixie will drink a soda. We've got new ways of entering. We've got new ways of traversing the environment, like these ropes, which Donkey Kong Land actually tried a little bit. New enemy types, like these click-clacks, which you have to... Like these click-clacks, which you have to either jump on twice or, like... you know, jump on once and then throw at something else. These clingers, which hang on ropes. Oh, and we have the new team-up maneuver, which you can use to throw one onto the other. It actually, I mean, it introduces a lot more variety in your platforming than before. Because it was good platforming, but it was also platforming that was ultimately very simple. And that's the other thing that's another thing they wanted to do with this, is they wanted to move away from a lot of the basic environments that they had in the first game. I mean, they did jungles, they did caves, they did underwater areas, they did, you know, mine shafts and temples, and it's a lot of very stock environments. So this game has, like, a volcanic crater, it's got an amusement park, it's got, I mean, it ends with a castle. That's probably about as video gamey as you get, but even so. They moved away from realism for this one. Whereas the first game was full of... Volcano's pretty common, but not for World 2. Yeah, no. But they, you know, they wanted to make it more of an adventure and less realistic. Cranky is back, and now, if you bring coins to him... Hold on. Come and say hello to your old grandpappy Cranky. I'm back by popular demand to offer you my wealth of game-playing wisdom for the sequel. After my starring role in DKC, I thought I'd be the main character in this time, not stuck in this gloomy shed. I reckon you should spend all your tokens here. He offers you little tips for every level in the game, which is a lot better than how he was in the first game, where he offered just tips for level 1, and they weren't even that good. So, hey, I'll take them. But I don't need it. Turns out, though, in this game, getting 100% or 102%, as this game actually has, requires you to visit every Kong in the game. And since I often don't visit Cranky ever, it turns out that I am usually missing 1% by not visiting him. Oops. Wrinkly also provides hints when we get to her. Okay. Wrinkly also provides hints, but they're more basic gameplay hints. Things like how your abilities work and getting used to the controls and things like that. Goodness, this game has it's quite a mouthful. I've talked about this game so far. When we get to the other games, I'm gonna have way less to talk about. Especially once we get to Donkey Kong Land 3. There's kind of nothing I can really say about that game because it just kind of happened. Now, thanks to our buddy maneuver, unlike the first game, we don't have a heavy character. So we've got no one who can take out the crunches just by jumping on them. But instead, we have these team-up maneuvers, which allow us to take care of them. Invincibility, not something in the first game, but it comes up very rarely in this. Hello, Moxie. And just like every other time I've played this game, this will be a 100% playthrough. Now, when you're playing this game, while the first game, if you're somebody who wanted to, like, play fast, or somebody who wanted to, you know, do the game as well as you possibly could, you pretty much were always playing as Diddy. This game actually gives you a lot more of a reason to pick Dixie over Diddy. Yeah, 102%. And here's Kong College, where we can go visit Wrinkly. She allows us to save the game. I'm allowed to teach courses on how to play this game, where you can just pop in when you want to save your little game. Now then, how can I help you? Little thing she says sometimes is that she actually, K. Rool was actually a student of hers. And look at those sums on the wall. That is, well, that's wrong. So I don't think I want to go to school here. You can save the game here, which is what you're going to be spending most of your time doing. Notice it's free. It's free the first time in a world you save. Every other time, it costs 2 coins. That is one of the worst decisions for saving your game I think I've ever seen. And I'm glad they didn't do that for the third game. But because of that, I only ever save the game when I leave the world. So when I beat the boss, I go back into the world I was just in, and then I save. Big thing with this one as well is now water levels, you can actually jump out of the water. Before the water levels were entirely underwater, and now the water level can raise, it can lower, you can jump in and out of the water. It's much more in-depth than what they had previously. And, of course, Ungard makes his return. I mean, honestly, what would you replace Ungard with? He's perfect. He does literally everything he needs to do. It limits saves while still giving the player autonomy. I get the idea anyway. I suppose, but then you still have to, like, play the game to get to the save point, which was the whole philosophy of the first game. You know, like, oh, you fought hard to get here. Your reward is being able to save your progress, right? Ironically, if you had to pay the first time to save, but then every other time was free, I would have preferred that. You could save after every level afterwards. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I just don't think you should have to pay to save the game. I think it's a poor decision, and I think they realized that too, because they immediately went back on it. Cartridge crash and you haven't saved since World 1. Well, if you haven't saved since World 1, that's on you, because you do get a first save for free every time you visit her. Okay. Gosh, the music in this game is immaculate. Hold on. Where is... Oh, I thought I just picked that up. Okay. And DKC1 Funky also functions as a pseudo-save. That's true, because you can just go back. World 1 was free and the other saves were paid. No. The first time you visit a world, your first save is free. Every other save after that is 2 coins. To be fair, it's not hard to get 2 coins. Several levels just have the coins... just have coins in very easy positions for you to get. The tough part, though, is that when you turn off the game and come back, it doesn't save the coins you had. So you gotta... And there are other things you might want to spend your money on. Like, let's say you're somebody who does want to get tips and tricks for the levels from Cranky. You might be enticed to pay for those instead. So what do? I save up to save... Do I hold on to them in case I want to save a lot? Or do I want to pay for Cranky and Wrinkly's other hints so that I have... Do I want to pay for Cranky and Wrinkly's other hints? Ooh, well, I guess we're not taking him with us. Oh, never mind. We're taking him with us. Oh, yeah, that's new, too. The no animal signs. A level can end and force you to ditch the animal. If you're playing the game normally, you never be short on banana coins. No, you're probably right. But I'm trying to take it from the perspective of a first-time player. Swanky, who wasn't mentioned at all in that story mode. He's here. He quizzes you on the game. This is fun, actually. I wish more games quizzed me on what I was playing. Good evening, I'm Swanky Kong, and you're tonight's contestants on my Bonanza. Oh, wait, it's a Donkey Kong Bonanza! Swanky Swag. What is my name? Swanky. Alright, let's try this one. What's the first enemy that you see in the game? A furry rat named Neek. What's the name of this area of the island? Gangplank Galleon. Easy peasy. What story mode? The manual has the story blurb. Always misinterpret this sprite as blue fur. But you can clearly see he's got fur underneath, I think. What button do you press to run? Well, that's Y. What's the name of the first level in the game? Pirate Panic. What's the name of the enemy boss who has kidnapped Donkey Kong? Captain K. Rool. Captain K. Rap. What's the in the first level of the game, how many windows did the captain's cabin have? 4. What's the name of the first rigging level? Main Brace Mayhem. In the first level of the game, which of these is not a background object in the captain's cabin? A gun. I have pretty much memorized the answers to all of these questions. The only one that consistently messes me up is when he asks, how many enemies do you think are in this game? And how many desks are there in Kong College? I always mess that up. How many bobblehead cows are there in Clocktown? I don't know. I haven't paid attention. Man, if a Zelda game decided to quiz you on the game, that would be horrible. There's so many things that you can easily miss. And here's our first level with Rattly. K. Rool literally wields a gun. Well, yeah, he's got the gun. That's why it's not in the first area of the game. Because he's holding on to it. I think Rattly functionally works a lot better than Winky does. As much as I like Winky, I can understand why they went with Rattly instead. He's very vertical, so if you want to go up, it makes sense that he's thin, right? And the whole spring mechanic reads a lot easier for you charging up a big jump if Rattly is, like, a spring himself. There are some slight differences. Like, in the first game, if you jumped on an enemy, if you jumped on 8 enemies in a row, you got an extra 1-up. That's no longer a thing in this game. There are very few situations where you can even jump on 8 enemies in a row, but if you do, you don't get a 1-up for it. I wonder how many people know you can actually jump on the clingers. Everybody having a move is nice consistency change. Yeah, Rambi can charge, Unguard can charge, although to be fair, both of their charges I only really use to unlock bonus runes. Squitter has like a whole Swiss Army knife of abilities. Radley's got a super jump, and then Squawks doesn't have a special move, actually. But, hey, he does enough. And then, of course, there's the animal buddies that you gotta wonder, do these really count as animal buddies, like Clapper the Seal and Glimmer the Anglerfish? I didn't jump. The elephant? We don't have an elephant in this one. Did I say elephant? Even Squawks is kind of in the middle because it's not like he's ever a power-up, he's mandatory. That's true, even when you are just riding on him, he's mandatory. The only difference, really, between when you get him in a box and when you get him as part of a moveset, when you transform into him, is that in the Bramble levels, if Diddy and Dixie are under Squawks, you can actually rest on the ground. The game throws lives at you in the early levels. Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll get to Ellie when we get there. That and walking on honey feel like oversights. I actually think Squitter walking on honey isn't an oversight, because he's wearing shoes. In fact, you know what? Oh, I take it back. None of the animal buddies get stuck in honey when you're teamed up. Oh! Yeah, that probably is an oversight. Alright, here's our first boss, Crow, with a really bombastic theme. And the bosses are way more in-depth than they were in the first game. They have multiple phases, they actually try to attack you in different ways. They really tried a lot harder at making these bosses more engaging. I mean, I know this one, he's just throwing eggs at you, but come on, it's the first one. DK Land 1 boss stand crying. Who's standing for those bosses? Now we've got 11 Crumb coins to our name. Funky is here as well. I didn't even, like, mention him when I visited him, but Funky allows you to do the same thing you did in the first game. You can teleport to, you can go visit different worlds that you've already explored. Difference is this time you have to pay for it, but after you pay for the first time, it's free every other time, so I always pay just to get it out of the way. I think later, though, they just realized that having to pay to, you should probably be able to just go wherever, whenever. World 2. It's very rare that you get, like, a lava level as a World 2 in a game. But clearly this game is not interested in doing things the normal way. But man, the music. While I could say that DKC1 has a lot of really good tracks, there are also a lot of tracks that are just more atmospheric, not quite so strong with the melody, maybe a little bit, like, not so great to, like, easy listening music, you know? This game, on the other hand, every single track is a banger, and it doesn't even compare. Unlike the first game, which was a three-way split between David Wise, Evelyn Fisher, and Robin Beanland, this one is all David Wise. Is that for the whole save file, only to turn the power off? It's the whole save file. When you save the game, it saves the state that Funky is in each world. But this is the game that basically turned David Wise into a household name in the video game music world. He very much, makes this game extra special with his soundtrack. But his music is very, very clearly inspired by things like Genesis and Phil Collins. The game blasts out of the gate with the title screen. Oh god, is that a quote from George Woods? No, I mean the music's great. Oh, okay, good, never mind. I mean, this game reviewed extremely well. Everybody loved it. Everyone was praising it as better than the original. And, even today, some people will call it the best Super Nintendo game ever made. That's really high praise, and I haven't played enough Super Nintendo games to be, like, certain if that's what I would say, but it is really, really good. It's very challenging, but fair. I do think I call it the best platformer. Alright. What's the name of the first lava level in this area of the island? Hothead Hop. What's the name of this area of the island? Crocodile Cauldron. How many times do you have to hit the giant bird? 4. What colors were the crocodile heads you jumped on in the first lava level? Green and brown. What's an extra lives balloon colored red worth? 1 life. Excluding the end of area boss, how many levels were there in World 1? 5. How many banana bunches would you have to collect to get an extra life? 10. Where did the beetle first appear in the first area? Level 2. What's the name of Diddy's ponytailed girlfriend? Why is this a hard question? Whatever. There's one spot. You know what? Hold on. Let's go visit Clubba. Just to see. I don't have enough money. Basically, he's saying, if you don't pay up, I'm gonna beat you up. 15 Krem coins to cost, so to cross. Even if you do get to this part of the game, you don't have Clubba. You don't have enough to pay him yet, so you do have the option to fight him. And he just beats you. Thankfully, that doesn't count as a death. Could you imagine if that took a life away if you did that? That would be pretty funny, I think. Now for the one bonus that messes everybody up in Canon's Claim. This is a mean one, and I don't know why they set it up like this. It's the only one in the game. Has any NPC mentioned Dixie's name before that question? The only one I could think of might be Cranky. So the music in this level kind of has an interesting history, as far as the fan base is concerned anyway. When the game first came out, it released a soundtrack CD, like the first game did. It contained almost every track in the game, but one of the notable ones it didn't contain was the music for the mineshaft levels. So at the time, it just didn't have a name. In-game, it's simply listed as Mine, but that's not the actual true name of any of the other ones, so... what happened was, in 1999, members of the person who created the DK Vine website, which was it's a fan site for Donkey Kong fans. He named it Mining Melancholy, and the name stuck. You'll find that name as the name for this track everywhere. Everyone knows it by that name. But, in the Game Boy Advance version of Donkey Kong Country 2, it's listed simply as Canon's Claim. So that was the official name of it, as far as you could go, right? But that didn't stop people from calling it Mining Melancholy, because Mining Melancholy is honestly, it's just a good name. In 2024, last year, Nintendo put the soundtrack for Donkey Kong Country 2 on Nintendo Music. And they gave a name for this soundtrack for the first time, and it's called Cannon's Clanking. So that's the official name, but nobody's probably going to use that because they don't even know it exists. And be honest, Mining Melancholy rolls off the tongue better than Cannon's Clanking. But that's the name, Cannon's Clanking. Despite all of the enemies being pirate-themed, most of the levels really aren't all that piratey. You've got the ship levels near the beginning and when we get to Krem Key, but outside of that, it's mostly just other areas you'd probably expect to see in a video game. This one's kind of got Goonie vibes. I see the Goonie vibes. I always miss that one. Kung. Yeah, I'll take a coin. Why not? So, now that we've got 15 coins, we can go to the Lost World and we can pay Clubba. Shiver me timbers, where's me loot? Because if I don't get none, then you don't cross over, mateys. Over here, Kongs, the Kremling Lost World awaits ye. Now, after you pay him, he says things like, K. Rool treats us rotten, and we don't like him. Which is interesting. I mean, you know, an antagonist treating their minions like garbage is, like, expected in these types of games, but it's rare that you hear, like, the characters in the game say things like that. That they'll be like, nah, we don't like him. If you could take care of him, we'll be happy. You access one level at a time, which I thought was weird. I feel like they should, like, add one more level to the map as you progress, but it turns out that in the GBA version, that's actually how it's done. You access a big map and you can play any of them whenever you go to the Lost World. And of course, you know, it's also playing off of Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World. Trying to remember where the bonus barrel is. It's somewhere. Why are you missing letters? Letters don't count for percent in this game. In the GBA version they do, but not in this one. And I'll go over the changes in the GBA version when we get to it. All letters do, when you get them all, is you just get an extra life. That's it. There it is. It's weird. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's that weird. Yes, and when you finish a bonus level in the Lost World, you're awarded a hero coin, and every one of these Lost World levels only has one bonus as a result. Now, while the Krem coins do let you access other levels, the hero coins, as they're called in this game, Cranky's Video Game Hero Coins is the full name, but most people just call them DK coins. They're strictly there just for 100%. They don't do anything. We've got a yellow clobber there. Clobbers, yellow ones, will actually steal bananas from you, and black ones will steal lives. We're only in level 2 and I've already almost got 50 lives. Only in World 2, excuse me. Let me just pay for Funky. Lava Lagoon. The only enemy is so brutal it can kill you 5 times in one encounter. Yep, steals lives from you, but you can pick the lives back up at least. I thought, so when I was a kid, I thought that every time you hit the yellow clobber, it was giving you bananas. Like, it was like, oh my gosh, I get bananas every time I hit this guy. I should keep doing it. Yeah, well, I wasn't very smart. I don't know how the heck, I don't know how the heck Clapper's doing this. He's changing the chemical composition of lava and turning it into water. That's crazy. There we go. How do you suppose K. Rool crashed a ship here? Like, I don't know if that makes him an amazing captain or a terrible captain that he got all the way out here and then crashed. Oh, okay. Is this not where the Kremlings are originally from? They are. This is the homeland of the Kremlings. Oh, come on, really? There we go. So this blowfish enemy here, Pufftup is his name. He was supposed to be in Donkey Kong Country 1, and unfinished sprites for it exist in there. And then they decided to add it to this one instead. Gosh, that's bright. Yeah, I don't need to visit her yet. So when we were looking earlier at the concepts for different kinds of barrels that they could encounter, they had an idea for a balloon barrel, and it looks like they actually turned that into this. You've probably also noticed that like a bunch of things here got new sprites. Banana bunches, bananas. So Rambi's attack in this game, it's pretty quick and jittery. But in the first game, it was only 2 frames. It's actually got a whole animation set for it, but they ended up cutting it down to 2 frames. This game adds a little bit more, but it's not the full thing. Oh, I am going to hit the life count before this game is over. I usually do. Any reason to use the actual attack command? If you feel like it, I guess. He makes a noise. But no, he'll just kill stuff if you run into it. Usually just messes you up. Yeah, when you're trying to get some momentum. In the first game, Rambi never appeared in a level with zingers in it, but from people who have done some, like, ROM hacking, they found that if you do put him in a level with zingers in it, he takes damage from them, but in this game, he just destroys zingers like they're nothing. The thing I like about Rambi is that he always feels powerful. And that's why they get rid of him. I would say by the time of this game, though, the DK Island Swing really became basically the theme song for the Donkey Kong franchise as a whole, and it doesn't skip, and after this, you know, it doesn't skip like any game. It appears in pretty much every single game in the franchise, even after Rare left. Well, yeah, I messed up that barrel saving section there. I forgot that I needed to hold on to it for a second. I gotta hold on to it. And I gotta let the flitter pass. The long build-up never really comes back. It does sometimes, but they usually shorten it. In DK Jungle in DK64 it has it. In DK Jungle Beat it has it. Of course Smash Bros has it. And the new game has it actually. Bonanza has it. Returns has it. Tropical Freeze has it. Actually, you know, the long build-up does appear a lot, but there's also a lot of mixes where it just doesn't show up. Or they changed how the build-up works, so it's less boring. The last game to introduce new playable Kongs? Depends on what you mean, because the last Donkey Kong game to introduce a character who was playable for the first time was Barrel Blast, where Wrinkly became playable for the first time. I guess that was also Cranky's playable debut, but if you count Donkey Kong Country 3 on GBA, you do play as Cranky in a minigame, so I don't count that. But in terms of new Kongs entirely, yeah, that's the last time they have new playable Kongs. No, they weren't new Kongs, but they were new playable characters. Yeah, no, that DK64 was the last time. I mean, once you've got that many characters, do you really need to keep adding more? The only reason they added those characters in DK64, I'll probably talk a little bit more when we get to it, but the main reason they added those new characters to DK64 is because they felt like they had to. Really, if Rare had kept going with the Donkey Kong franchise, they probably would have just kept making new characters, and there probably would be a million characters. Ooh, messed it up. Was Diddy... you mean Dixie and Kitty? They did... So, someone asked the developer, like, hey, why did you add all these new Kongs? Why did you add Chunky and Tiny when they're very similar to Kitty and Dixie? And it's more or less tying back to what I said earlier. They felt like they needed to, like, add something new, that they wanted to have the new playable characters to advertise. And they're like, I guess, you know, Tiny could have been replaced by Dixie, but Kitty is kind of a divisive character anyways. Nobody really hates Chunky, so maybe they made a good call on that one. Really, the only, like, completely new character in that game is Lanky. They also mentioned for this game, the reason why they why they decided not to have DK playable is because it would be partially a bit of a shock, and also because they wanted to say that, like, we're not afraid to, like, try new things. You know, earlier today, they actually showed off new gameplay for Donkey Kong Bonanza that shows that they're bringing back some of the level archetypes and gimmicks from this for those 2D sections. Including a brand new remix of Sticker Bush Symphony. Thanks, Bruno, 93. I don't know how to pronounce that. Good afternoon, Bruna. That's how we say it. I've talked about pretty much everything I can for the development behind this game. Now it's just all about the game itself. If I had to personally rank the Donkey Kong Country trilogy, it would be really hard for me. I've thought about this question a lot over the years, and I really think that each one of the three has good points to them. Things I like differently about each one. I know my favorite is Country, but if I could separate my favorite but from what I think is the best, I'd probably say 2 is the best, and then I'd put 3 and 1 on equal footing. They're all good. You can't go wrong with any of them, but I think 2 just stands above the rest. It's got amazing theming, it's got amazing music, the challenge is high, and the storyline is interesting. I mean, the fact that they like did this as a storyline in the first place, I think is pretty ballsy. Having your main character of the previous game get kidnapped and have to be rescued by the sidekick is just a kind of confidence in your game that you don't really see a lot. But on the other hand, hey everybody, Donkey Kong's back, and in a big new way. We're bringing a brand new bringing this franchise to the modern age. Donkey Kong is here. Second game, he's gone. But I will give props to K. Rool. I mean, the guy beat you last time. So it makes sense to capture him, right? Like, with DK out of the picture, now I can do whatever I want. I would argue, though, that this is the point at which K. Rool wanting to beat Donkey Kong turns into more of an obsession than it is strictly, like, about conquest. Not on board with DKC3 at all, but that's a nice cold take. I love DKC3. I think it kind of gets too much flack. There's a lot of things to enjoy about it, I think. Part of it is that it doesn't really have the same tone and emotional impact that DKC2 does. I'm not gonna pretend like it's a masterclass of anything, but, you know, it's got a lot of good points. The gameplay is really just as solid as ever. And that's Cleaver. Really, what DKC3 does differently from 1 and 2 is that it takes a Mario-like approach to its level design. Every level is a gimmick, you know? They slowly introduce a new gameplay element, they let you play around with it until it reaches its natural conclusion, and then you're done and you move on to something else. That's the kind of thing that, like, Mario does. They make the sword start flying like it's supposed to be some big surprise. I'm sure it's shocked some people. Didn't even realize a lava hand holding it. That's the other thing. The hand is the same color as the background. You're paying attention to the giant silver thing. Alright, welcome to Creme Key. It's boggy. It's swampy. It's a little bit gross. The music sounds like Phil Collins. Actually, they already had a Phil Collins type drum beat with cannons clanking in the previous world. Ooh, we've got a cannonball we gotta bring over here. Here's one. He was the hero coin? I don't know how many people picked up on this one, but at least there is like a hint. The new barrel type, quote unquote, is the chest there. Holds an item inside. We saw a bunch of them earlier, but they get like a little more scarce as the game goes on. Trying to get through this level and the next one held you up for a little while. Were they just hard, or could you like not figure out the secrets or what? Lots of places to fall. Ah, yeah. If you don't do this quick enough, he throws a zinger that blocks the bonus barrel. Oh, yeah. The speed run. That'll do it. Glimmer's Galleon. Now, if you played this on the original hardware, this has the same problem that Torchlight Trouble does in DKC1, where every time you turn around, Glimmer looks at the camera and flashes a light in your face for a frame. It's not really that hard to navigate this place without having the lights on. What's maps? Oh, you mean like just a regular map. Never mind. I thought the fact that you capitalized it meant it stood for something. I didn't know Battle Network 1 got a DS remake. Is it just straight up called Battle Network? Operate Shooting Stars, Japan exclusive. Oh, okay. And that explains, yeah. And it has some stuff with Star Force. I mean, that makes sense. Star Force is more or less just more Battle Network. Whoops, let me go back. Mega Man is like a Digimon. Yeah. But gameplay-wise, it's basically more Battle Network. It's just the perspective is over the shoulder instead of from the side. A lot of these underwater ones are just solve the maze. Are there any types of game genres you think the DK franchise would be suited to? I think platformers are a fine place for it to be. But the new one, the Bonanza is doing something really new for the franchise, I think. I mean, it's a platformer, but the ability with those huge destructible environments and all the new ways you have to engage with the platforming, I think makes it different enough that it's not a problem. I'm trying to think. What would be an interesting... Okay. I mean, I wonder, like, I guess I wonder what a turn-based Donkey Kong RPG would be like. No, it doesn't sound necessary. That's the thing, right? Like, not every game needs to be Mario and have a million spin-offs with every genre. There we go. Well, I lost Diddy, but that's okay. I'll get him back later. Even way out here, you can find sunken ships. Like, the entire bottom half of Crocodile Isle is just full of K. Rool sunken ships. Kremling driver dash cam videos. Man, every Kremling in this game uses like the same death sound effect. I've always liked the crockheads. They're just chilling in the water. They're not even enemies. The quiet quitters of the Kremlings. Hey, you're gonna give me more, what's the word? You're gonna give me more tongue twisters? Rattle battle. Oh, I can't get that. Ah, I lost Dixie. That's okay, we'll come back here. This is an iconic level in this game, mostly because you're rattly for the entire thing. It has a unique piece of music, and you've got this, like, you've got this really green background. Alright, yeah, it's not there. I can't see. Is it down there? Okay, it is. Nope, never mind. Dang it. I always forget where it is. Well, at least I get to, At least I get to try this out. Now we've got enough Creme coins to go check out the second level of the Lost World. Boingy, 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 boingy. So many kaboings. Oh, never mind. That one just killed himself. There it is. I always forget where that one is. So you might be looking at me going, hey, how come you can jump in the air after jumping off? I'm not jumping. I'm just walking off the ledge, and you can just jump. So since Rattly bounces every time he walks, when you're in the air and you haven't jumped yet, you can jump again, which includes walking off of ledges. Double spring-loaded peg legs on those guys. There you go. You were your own downfall. There we are. Whoops, I forgot if you change right there. Alright, let's go to Clubba. Now we've got Black Ice Battle. Right, Clobber Carnage is the next one. This one's a little bit of a toughie, even if you do know what you're doing. Dixie does make it easier, though. Oh yeah, now we have new red zingers. Zingers could be red in the first game, but the different zinger colors didn't matter. Now if you see a red zinger, it's invincible. You can't kill it. And there's the black There's the black, Gosh, I forgot the name. Clobber. There's the black clobber. That one, if you're not careful, will steal a life from you. Yeah, I got your number now. Whew. I missed the end somewhere. Oh, it was probably on the right. The prettier the music, the harder the level. That is true. That is true for these first two games. Oh, gosh. I'm always nervous I'm gonna land on something. Well, I lost him. Oh, there we go. Pretty quick. There's only one level that I still consistently have issues with, and that's the last level, Animal Antics, which is an infamous level in its own right. Oops. Thought I could jump out fast enough. Okay, not tall enough to get hit by the barrel. I'm making a lot of rookie mistakes. Not this time. Nope, this time apparently. I'll get it one day. Just throw the barrel. There. Was that so hard? It's all you had to do. And then lose Dixie immediately, because you're a pro at this. It's all part of the plan. Oh my gosh. I guess this level is my kryptonite today. Ooh, so that's Snapjaw. Like the redfish Lockjaw, Snapjaw will bite you. Difference being you can't kill Snapjaw. Why am I having such a hard time with this right now? Is it my hubris? Whew. Alright, let's try that again. There we go. Well, I messed that up. It's okay. I'm still alive. There we go. I don't know why this level's giving me so much trouble today. I normally blast through this just fine. Oh well. Okay. It is my hubris, isn't it? Jeez Louise, man. You can go faster than that. It's fine, we did it. There we go. Jeez, I almost thought I wasn't gonna get it. I'm on pins and needles now. There we go. Okay, I made it out. I'm fine. I'll be okay. Don't get complacent now. Alright, we've got a quiz. What's the snake buddy do? Well, he can jump. What's the name of the level of the anglerfish who helps you with his underwater light? Glimmer's Galleon. What's the name of the big muscle-bound crocodile who guards the toll bridge? Clubba. How many lives do you start the game with? 5? What button do you press to team up? A. What's your rhino buddy's name? Ramby. Rambus. This is Kremkey. Oh, I get it. Donkey. It's Donkey Kong. Oh, gosh. What's your parrot buddy's name? Squawks. How many airplanes hang from the roof? 2? There we go. That one always... Gosh, that one always gets me. The questions about what's in Kong College always mess me up. And here's our first Bramble level. These levels are probably the most infamous in the entire game. And they recently became part of this meme called Internet Checkpoints, where people just take a second to stop browsing and relax. The music or the levels themselves? The music. This is pretty well known, but when this song was composed, it was originally meant to be for the water levels, like the first game. But seeing as this game's water levels weren't atmospheric like the first game, David Wise decided to instead use them for the Bramble levels, because they would be a nice counterpoint to how difficult these levels can be. Oops. Oh gosh, I'm gonna lose. There we go. Whew. You know, you kind of just get into a rhythm with this game. And then you feel it, you know? You're acting based off of muscle memory more than what you're actually looking at. Ooh. Oh, I gotta go around again. Whoops. There we go. And here we are with Squawks in the Bramble levels, and like I mentioned before, you can actually rest on the bottom without getting hurt, which I think is an oversight. It doesn't really come up all that often anyways, so it's not like it's a huge problem. It's not like it lets you beat the game easily. Or skip challenge or anything like that. You don't like Bad Bird Rag? It's okay, I guess. It's not my favorite. I mean, it definitely keeps the tension up. It's probably not as like listenable as the others. Nothing good on this roulette. All right, Cudgel. This was originally supposed to be Clubba, but they changed it and recolored him because I think it was some question of like, well, if you beat him here, how is he like still running the kiosk? I saw someone once pronounce his name as Kujal. Well, I messed that up. There we go. Dude, Cudgel's sprite is massive. Alright, should be one more attack. There we go. Alright, first half of the game is over. Now here we are at Crazy Kremland. I forgot to go back to save, but it's okay. We'll live. The Beehive levels. My favorite song in the game, I think. It's either Flight of the Zinger or Cannons Clanking. It's a really close tie, but I love this song. This has the right amount of build-up to pay off, I think. Whoa. All right. Boom. You know, I never did the thing where... I never did that thing where you... Huh. I never did that. I didn't know you could do that until you pointed that out to me just now. Well, I think you also, when you're carrying a barrel, you don't get stuck either. There we go, Squitter. He's about to make this interesting. Now we can kill things. But, you know, between this and Witchy World, I gotta wonder, which one is more hazardous to my health? Okay, well. Witchy World? Yeah, from Banjo-Tooie. Oh, right. You need Squitter. Alright, we gotta back up. Oh no, you do get stuck when you're holding a barrel. Yeah, it's definitely an oversight. They don't get stuck when you're teamed up like that. There we go. Whew. That almost was bad. I almost had to do another do-over. Squitter is definitely the coolest animal buddy this game has to offer. I mean, he just changes the way you navigate levels so much. The ability to create platforms is such a strong one. Wow, I actually made it. And we get another Squitter for our troubles. He slows the game down so much. What I do to speed him up is, so in addition to using the A button to fire a ball that you can use into a platform, you can do it faster if you use the R and L buttons. So when I jump, I press R and L at the same time, and it immediately opens up a platform under me. And that's way faster. Even with that, you think he's too slow? Fair enough, I guess. Alright, well, we were gonna lose him here anyway. And there's Kong College. But let's go inside Crazy Kremlin. Let's ride the roller coasters. And here's our replacement for minecarts. These skull coasters. Oh, thank you, Chewie. Up and over. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of raids. Hello, everybody. You're joining me for my Donkey Kong Bonanza marathon. We're playing, not every Donkey Kong game, but we're playing a lot of them as we try to make our way through. Oh, well, thank you, Faye Helmet. With only 2 weeks and some change to go, Bonanza is almost here. I can't wait. Hello, Chewie. It's been a while, hasn't it? Alright, there should be something coming up soon. There it is. Okie doke. There's one of these bonus rooms in Haunted Hall that I always have a problem with. And I hope I get it on my first try this run. Sounds like fun. It is, actually. Well, the Game Boy games for Donkey Kong Land are going to be a little bit of a trouble, but, because I did just do a test playthrough of Donkey Kong Land 2, and I'm in the middle of one for 3, but, those games, to me, are a lot harder than this. Oh, have you noticed that that Diddy and Dixie's music at the end of the level sounds slightly different for each theme? Now here's the harder of the two Bramble levels. This is the one that most people really get tripped up on. And this one can be tough. Whew. Ooh, almost got hit by the flitter there. Well, it flew a little too high to the sun. Oh, never mind, I got him back. I'm good, I'm goated. You know, despite this being their first attempt at letting you fly around with squawks, it feels really good to control. Oops. No? Okay, good. I did not need these coins. Alright, well, we lost the parrot. It's okay, we'll be fine. We just gotta jump through this wall. I don't know how you're supposed to think to jump through that wall. Like, seriously, who's gonna be like, yeah, normally that hurts me, but I don't know. Maybe they were just lying last time. Alright, have fun, Chewie. Enjoy the rest of your day. Ooh. I'm trying to go through this too fast. Nah, I'll be fine. Alright, good. We made it. Phew. You know, I'm not even checking to make sure that I've actually collecting everything, but I'm pretty sure I am. Such creative level design? I think so, huh? Alright, I forgot to save, so we'll use the free one I have in Krem Key. You never know what's gonna happen, save just in case. Ooh, we've passed the 50% mark. We're now over halfway done with this game. Rickety Race. Very interesting concept for a level here. Thankfully for me, though, all the bonus rooms are, like, right near the beginning. There it is. Oh, I guess you don't have to beat them all. We have to beat enough. Alright, so, this actually is a race. And it's not an easy one either. So you can go back at the beginning for that speed boost, but you can win this perfectly fine without it. I knew it! That always happens! Didn't know about that speed up barrels for years. Yeah, it's pretty cool, because, like, you'd never think you could just hold left to go backwards, but you can. That was a pretty sick one. Sick jump for that. There we go. There we go. Whew. Where's that? There you are. There we go. And that's why you want to win the race. This is like having a crumbling race and we're crashing it. Hey, works for me. Swanky's advertising that he's got killer instinct. That's pretty funny. Alright. What's the name of this area of the island? Crazy Kremland. What color is your parrot buddy? Red, green, and yellow. What's the name of the two companies that produced this game and the first one? Rare and Nintendo. What's the name of the first Wasp Hive level? Hornet Hole. What's the name of the old Lady Kong? Wrinkly. Which of these items are not at Clubba's kiosk? A picture of K. Rool. What's your snake buddy's name? Rattly. What color waistcoats does Cranky Kong wear? Green? Yeah. Which of these enemies have you not seen yet? The Cat o' Nine Tails. Alright, well, that's it for the outside. Excuse me, that was it for the inside. Let's go back outside. Hey, remember when they said we haven't come across Cat o' Nine Tails yet? Well, we're about to come across them. There they are. People have speculated whether or not these guys are a dig at Sonic, and I'm not sure. I don't think they are, but they could be. This is where you're at in the speedrun. Ah, okay. Don't really see it besides them being blue. It's supposedly that the tails make it look like spikes. That's supposedly, but this game has a more overt Sonic dig, so I don't know why they would do this subtle one too. Yeah, it is Rare, not Nintendo, but... Huh. There we go. I always thought it was pretty neat how every time you go into one of these cannonball special stages, they always give you a cannonball like you traveled with it. I guess Neki seniors are told to be pirates, too busy filing taxes and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. The regular Nekis are gone. All we've got is the mini Nekis. This one's got one of the meanest ones. Because if you don't get this and you mess it up, you gotta do the whole thing over. Alright, Clubba. Clobber Carnage. Now, if you were somebody who, back in the day, perhaps, played this level on emulator, you might have realized that your emulator, for some reason, did not treat the barrels in this level correctly. I know I had my fair share of problems with it. Pretty infamously in the emulator scene, actually. It wasn't back in the day and we didn't realize it. You just thought that this level was obscenely hard. But yeah, I mean, for those of you who don't know, the issue emulators have with this level is that, when you do the rotator barrels, it's supposed to stop rotating, after a certain point. Like when you let go of the button, right? That doesn't happen on certain emulators. It just keeps spinning, which makes this level that's already pretty difficult even harder. That's Kaboom. There we go. That wasn't so bad. There we go. Not too bad. I mean, it's definitely not a walk in the park. There's a secret bonus up there. Although they've ever made 2 death reels and one of them is this level. Oof. When did you realize that it wasn't supposed to be working like that? The following stream. Did you beat it? Powered through, spent 2 hours on it. Oh my goodness. I get it though. I get it. That level can be a real challenge even without the spinning problem. I think I actually did it with the spinning thing. Must have done it once or twice though, because when I was in high school, I actually would emulate these games and put it on my iPad. Because that was back when there were jailbreak-free options for emulators. Oh my gosh. There we go. Whew. I think we have just 2 more levels left for the Lost World, don't we? Yeah, we do. Fiery Furnace and Animal Antics. Cutlass is a funny little guy. I wonder how many people got duped by that hero coin, because it looks like it's just within reach. The ones that, like, they throw down the cutlasses and then they pull them back up at the last second. Yeah, those ones are bad. And I'm sure that this gave some people, like, quite a shock when this first happened. Because it's the boss of the world chasing you. I like that little bit of storytelling, where it's like you're in the area before the boss, so here he is chasing you. He never even saw the bee, he just booked it. I mean, even if you don't see King Zing, you do, you get the music, so, like, regardless, you know? Alright. Well, that's it for Crazy Kremland, because now we've got King Zing Sting, the first boss fight in the series where you do the entire thing as an animal buddy. And it's a pretty tough customer, this guy. I wonder what that sound is supposed to be after he fires. I think it's just supposed to be the sound of the stingers, like, flying through the air. Bonanza sounds fun. Oh my gosh, Bonanza is gonna be so fun. Wow, I did that without getting hit once. Normally, I actually struggle a little bit against King Zing. But I handled that pretty well. Deep Rock. I can see the Deep Rock parallels. Dixie, what are you doing? I forgot to go back again. Ah, well. I think Gloomy Gulch is a world that's kind of forgotten about. It's got this awesome tune, but it sits in between Crazy Kremland and K. Rool's Keep, and it just kind of feels like a stopgap sometimes. I mean, it's a good world. It's got interesting mechanics, and it's got good music, but I don't know, just the way it's situated makes it feel like it's like, alright, we're like almost there, let's just get through this, you know? It's hard to follow up on Kremland. You're right. Kremland just gave us the roller coasters and the hives, and like Hornet Hole and Ramby Rumble are just really good levels. While the first game had tons of walls that you could barrel through. Oh, I get it, barrel through. Tons of walls that you could break through to, like, to get to bonuses. This one doesn't really have very many of those. Despite introducing a new ability for both Ungard and Ramby to do that to walls. I mean, they came up with, instead, they had the cannonballs. I think I already missed the hero coin. Wait, no, is it down there? No. It's underneath one of the platforms. I just can't remember if I already passed it or not. This level becomes super easy if you're using Dixie. I'm holding nothing. Well, that was an interesting example of a bug that I don't think I've ever shown off on purpose, is the invisible barrel glitch. If you do the invisible barrel glitch in certain situations, Diddy will have nothing in his hand, and you can throw it and spawn something. You can use it to break the game, especially in the first game. An invisible G. Oh, okay, there's nothing. I'll take a banana. Despite this being a haunted forest, it's not really that haunted, because this first one's got ghosts, but then the rest of the levels don't really do anything with that. I gotta look down on the ground to see. keeping my eyes peeled for this thing. There it is. Did we hear this music in another level before this one? No, no, this is new music for this level. Haunted Hall. A really cool level, but my absolute bane when it comes to getting all of the bonus barrels. There we go. I like that they duck their heads under. That's cute. It's another bonus and a bonus. Oh yeah. But at least it's a little easier to find. I could very easily believe that someone might discover that bonus by mistake, you know? So that's Cackle. Earlier when I showed off that one crocodile with the cloak and the hook hand, this is who he was an earlier version of. And this is like this game's version of Slip Slide Ride. It's a unique type of level with just a unique gimmick and unique music and environments, and this is the only level it appears in. Now this is the bonus barrel I always mess up. I'm gonna actually use the rewind feature here because I hate doing this one over and over, so if you'll pardon me, I am using this on Switch. Oh, I only needed one more attempt anyway. I saved us time, that's what I did. Yeah, I'm actually shocked that Nintendo added rewind features. With the Switch 2, there's rewind features in N64 games. Not GameCube, though. I assume GameCube games are not quite so easy to reverse. In a way where it's satisfying for them, you know? Well, we've hit the life cap. Gusty Glade. I don't think Dolphin has save states. Dolphin does have save states. I don't know about rewind. This is one of those levels that really messes people up. I just realized, I think the life counter counts higher than 99, but it just doesn't show it. Unlike the first game, where 99 is the limit, and if you collect any more, it doesn't actually add any more to it. This is a little tedious. Having wind that's not there until you are, it's tricky. It's unlike Mario 64. Yeah. I mean, hey, yeah, that's true. You can pinpoint the exact locations that the wind will appear every time. Oh, come on. I clearly hit it. Okay. Well, whatever. I got the cannonball. There we go. Alright, I'm gonna need Dixie for something that's coming up. Here we go. Oh, hello. I got a little bit of a boost from that barrel. That the cannon shot. Parrot shoot panic. Well, you guys remember how cool Squawks is? Well, here's his lamer purple cousin, Quawks. I noticed I just missed I missed something up there. I'll get it later. Quawks can't shoot eggs or fly up. The only thing he can do is just flap. Can't do much, but he needs the word. Yeah, it's like Squawks is like, look, I got a brother. Alright, if we could like help him out a little bit, I'd appreciate it. There we go. Are they eggs? I thought they were nuts like Neki. Nope, they're eggs. They're yellow with spots. Alright, Quawks, back to you. Raises several biological questions. No more than Kazooie does. I mean, I guess at least Kazooie is female. Presumably Quawks is male. I haven't found anything saying otherwise. last section before we're done. Nope, never mind. Got one more. So you can press up to up and down to slow or quicken your descent. I'm sure a lot of people figured out that you can press down to go faster, but I don't know how many people figured out that you can go up that you press up to go slower. Hang on. There we go. Well, we don't have enough to go to Clubba just yet, but we will after the next level. And let me just take care of this first. There we go. I'm always surprised by how many people just don't figure that out intuitively. Happens with swimming in Mario. That you can press up to go up faster. I never really bothered, so I guess that's why I didn't figure it out. We are in Gloomy Gulch. He broke into 5 wasps. Funky. Chunky. What's the name of the forest with the blowing wind in it? Gusty Glade? How many small wasps hover the hives? 3. This is Crocodile Isle. Which of these not the name of an area of an island you played? Crocodile Canyon. It's not an area that exists in the game. Which is Swordfish Buddy's name? Ungard. There are 2 globes. Alright, let's get out of here. We're just cleaning him out for no reason. We don't even need the lives. Oh, wait. Whoops, I forgot. I didn't need to go there. I needed to go to Crazy Kremland to save the game. We're looking at a nice 70%. Alright, Web Woods. Squitter's breakout level. This level is a bit tough. Luckily for us, in this first section, there's actually nothing we have to get our hands on, so we can just skip it. Whoops. It's very foggy. This is kind of like Ramby Rumble, but like if most of the level was Ramby instead of half. They will have a level like this for Ungard, but that's gonna be later. Okay. Oop. There you go. Oh, right. You're supposed to go from that direction, I guess. Doesn't matter. I blaspheme. Hot dogs on hamburger buns. You're a real rebel, you know that? You're a sick freak. How are you gonna, like, when the 4th of July comes around in 3 days, how are you gonna be that sick freak who's got the hot dogs on the hamburger buns? Hold on, I gotta remember. Okay, this isn't that part of the game yet. Yeah, this level is a lot more slow and methodical. There's a collectible down somewhere. Is it here? No. Or maybe I'm thinking of the GBA version and this is the location of a feather. Alright, now here's an interesting way of doing a bonus level. So we just watch, he shoots a really slow cannonball. And we just watch as it goes. Just watch as it goes to the left. And you just go in. What are the feathers? Oh, the feathers were for upgrading Espresso for a minigame. I'll go a little more into it when I talk about the GBA version in a minute. Oh my gosh. I was cutting that way too close. Okay, here we go again. We got the Rare logo. Isn't that nice? Alright, we must be near the end of the level. Oh, indeed we are. I forgot that this was another one of those levels that did that. Ugh! Well, hold on. Before we go on to Creepy Crow, we've got to do this. Fiery Furnace. Altogether not a difficult level, For me, though, the reason this level has my eternal vengeance is because of the placement of the bonus barrel. I didn't mean to do that. Oh yeah, no, I just totally mean to get hit, Dixie. Why would I even... Yeah, of course I didn't mean to do that. Looked like it might have saved you. It might have, but I don't think it did. Whoops. I didn't miss it, did I? No, it's up there. Hold on, I gotta wait for him to... There we go. Too far. I needed both of them. Having both changes the trajectory? No, I can just throw them up there instead of having to rely on the cat of nine tails. How's the weather been? Hot. It's very hot and humid. It's like there was a heat wave a while ago, and I thought it went away because it did get cool for a couple of days, but I think that was just cloud cover. Now I gotta be careful with this one. I can't afford to take too long or wait for the zingers to move. It's just been boiling, honestly. It's very, very humid. Well, never mind, I got it my first try. That one usually takes me a ton of attempts, but I actually did it this time. Alright, well, now we can go fight Creepy Crow. Not the hardest boss in the world, but it's the one I'm most likely to die on outside of K. Rool. That's true. Even compared to 3, these bosses try to be a lot more of a spectacle. Alright, final boss, final hit time. And we killed a ghost. Don't know how we did that with a barrel. Oh, Dixie's tweaking again. Alright, time to save the game. Well, now we reach the last world. Kind of. Alright, now we get an underwater level for Ungard to match the Ramby and, the Ramby, Squawks, and, Squitter ones we already got. What is that sound effect? It sounds like I hit them with a barrel. Oh, okay, well, it was cool while it lasted. Oh, there it is. Is this the... No, I guess not. Nope, not there either. Here it is. You know, there's a remix of this in Bonanza that we heard in the trailer. Even when you fall that slowly? Sure, whatever. Oh, and apparently Clubba's kiosk is all the way on DK Isle. Alright, our last mineshaft level for the game. okay. Boom, 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 boom. I knew that was gonna happen. What? Okay. What if Banana ends with DK getting a permanent brow injury? Prequel confirmed. Well, if you want to talk about Bonanza theories, hypotheses, and fan wishes, there's quite a lot. For one thing, the big one everybody's wondering is, how does Pauline work? Like, how is this game gonna be story-wise? There's a couple of different things people have come up with. Now, I know Nintendo doesn't, like... Nintendo usually plays fast and loose with certain plot elements when it comes to things like Mario. But the Donkey Kong series, Nintendo has pretty consistent on little lore tidbits that they like to pull in there. I mean, heck, Cranky Kong references his rivalry with Mario in Bonanza. He has a piece of dialogue that's like, back in my day, rivals had charisma even in overalls. So, like, clearly that's a reference to Mario. Pauline got... I think what's most likely is whatever cursed Pauline to be the Rock gave her like a memory wipe. Or no, gave her like a memory wipe and just undid her age. I think that's what happened. I think that's the most likely outcome. But there's a couple of different ones that people have thrown around, like Pauline got pulled in from the past, goes on this adventure, and like then that's how she becomes who she is. There's Pauline Jr. theory, or like relative theory, which is that this is actually not Pauline, but somebody with the same name, or maybe they got the wrong guy, and she just looks like Pauline. No one's really sure, and considering it's such a big plot point, I'm presuming that they are gonna, like, mention it. Oh my gosh, hold on, let me back up. I just don't feel like doing this whole thing over. I'm sorry. I don't normally like using the rewind feature, but for a little thing like that, like where it's just, oh, I'm just gonna have to come all the way back here and try it again. Like, I'm not gonna use it to undo a death or anything like that. The degree to which they were trying to highlight plot and drama and feels in that last trailer was very bizarre. I think it's interesting, don't you? So now that we're seeing more gameplay come out, we're seeing more gameplay of the game come out, and it's looking like Pauline will have little things to say throughout the entire adventure. Like Cappy did, except it's all going to be voice acted, instead of just with little sounds and text, like, instead of just sounds and text like how Cappy was. Oh, dang, I missed the G. Alright. Castle Crush. This is a level that gives a lot of people trouble. But honestly, when you know it, it just turns into a kind of boring auto-scroller. This is also the level of the game where you can completely ruin your save data and corrupt your cartridge, making it inoperable. So, you know, don't do that. What a color palette, huh? Brown on brown on brown. How's that? So remember that thing I did earlier where Diddy was holding an invisible barrel? You, like, use that glitch, by throwing it at the wall at a specific time to cause the Rambi barrel to spawn closer to you. And that, like, messes everything up, causes the graphics to glitch. I've seen it do things like you become Clubba and you can move around. And then it corrupts your save data, it messes with the game. And if you're not careful, it can ruin your actual cartridge. If you try to perform it on, like, any of the Nintendo services since then, it will just cause it to crash and reset. Because they don't, you know, if they detect something like that, it'll just... They don't want it to break permanently, so... I don't know why I jumped over him. I could have just rolled through. Oh, shoot, I didn't even get to the checkpoint. Oh, well. Yeah. Kind of wonder what the Foley was like for these games. I mean, I imagine it's a lot of stock sound effects and just kind of making noise with your mouth that they got the programmer to do. I mean, Chris Sutherland was the voice for... did all, like, the vocal noises in this game, and he's a programmer. You SMB's doing this a few times, but usually just an enemy gauntlet. Mm-hmm. The level you're thinking of with the, you can actually just walk through this is, I think that's Chain Link Chamber, not this one. Oh wait, no, this one has it, right? It's like over here, I think. There it is. Wait a minute, I gotta go down here. There we go. That's what we needed him for. I guess you could do that with, I suppose you could do that with just the Kongs, but it would be a lot slower. Look at that 3D effect they did on that platform to make it look like you're actually going past levels. It's the same thing they did with the water. Devious. One you can roll into, one you can jump on, but not both. Although it's usually better to roll into the spiny and then jump on the clampin. They tease you. I didn't even get them all. I've never thought of that, a level where the enemies are also trying to get out like you are. But that kind of changes it from like an auto-scroller to more of an escape sequence, you know? That's more like Super Metroid. I mean, there's still enemies. No, yeah. But like they're all running out with you and they can still hurt you. Well, that's just a different kind of auto-scroller then, isn't it? That's like, getting chased by something. Ooh, hello. You know what? Platforming? What platforming? That's so mean. It's right there after the checkpoint. It's right there after the bonus barrel. Whew. This game has a nice balance of using the crates and giving you the barrels. Because they're like, sometimes that means the animal buddy's a power-up, and sometimes that means it's the level's gimmick. But 3, it's almost entirely just the level's gimmick. They don't really do... They aren't really doing, you know, here's a power-up for you. Oh yeah, an on-guard can be on land now. That's pretty funny. think he'd, like, flop all over the place, but no. Oh, we got a full spread. At some point, At some point, it seems to have spawned out of existence, that barrel. Alright, this level's a toughie. Hang on. There's a K down there. This level is a lot of, like, oops, stuff is in the walls, you gotta jump around it. My 1-up! Now I only have 99! You sick son of a gun. Well, that'll do that. Right, so if you don't kill the crook, if you kill the crook when he's sending the hook out, 4 Kong letters for when life really stopped feeling worth it. I mean, if you're not so great at this game, it might be worth it because you want to have those extra lives set up so you could, like, I don't know, live long enough to save the game or get past something difficult. I mean, at least they're not hidden in bonus barrels. Wow. I just really gave up, didn't I? Let's give that another shot. All right. This track really is pretty suited to bonus round music. Mm-hmm. Though it's not quite so much of a bonus, is it? They don't, like, give you extra lives or anything for finding it. It's really just... It's really more for actual progression. Okay, it's not this one. Gotta get my way... sneak my way out of here, though. The B stands for progression. Ah, yes, of course. Nope, not here. This one's a mean level because you can just miss the checkpoint. Which I have. Okay, they don't have it. Excuse you. I don't know why you'd take the B's. That's way easier. There we go. Whew, only 4 more coins, and then we've got them all. Well, we're almost done with this place. Oh my goodness. Alright. Hey, I actually got all the Kong letters. Alright. Oh yeah, Toxic Tower. How could I forget about that? Alright, more quizzes. Last one of the game. This is K. Rool's Keep. That's Cranky. So these enemies also appeared in the first game. Zinger! What's the name of the castle with the rising floor? Castle Crush. How many animal buddies can you ride? 5. What's the name of the flying ghost Kremling who throws objects at you? Cloak. What's the spider's name? Squitter. How many desks are there? 5. How many different baddies? 30. Hey, I got both of those right. I normally mess them both up. Alright, Toxic Tower. Funk, I don't really need to ride anywhere, but I have 2 coins. Just in case, you know. Oh my gosh. Wow, only 3 more levels to go. Oh my gosh, that was way too tight. I shouldn't do that. Alright, sure, I'll take some extra doodads. Why not? Alright. Last section. Yeah, I gotta be careful. Alright, and that's Toxic Tower. This might be the Kirkopius sounding wise track. It's the strings, isn't it? Alright, Stronghold Showdown, the final boss. And there he is! Now we just gotta reach out and... Nah, just kidding, they actually took him. K-Rool's running away with his tail between his legs. Alright, one last level. Screech's Sprint. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't get hit. Whew. Nice. Alright, let's do this. I wondered the kind of shock it must have been back then to find out that not only was this not the end, but there's a whole nother world that opens up, and how much even bigger of a shock it was to find out that, oh, it only has one level in it. Oh, well. Well, at least all I have to do now is just win the race. Instantly killing someone who you beat in a race is like a stat ability. You know what? I can see that. Unfortunately for me, I didn't even do that. The race isn't very long. I like that K-Rool just has an evil Squawks, and it never gets brought up ever again. All right, well. Final boss time. Maybe it's conjured. He's all about magic these days. Hey, you know what? I can believe that. Gosh dang, K. Rool has taken, excuse me, DK has taken that beating like a champ. Everyone wants Dixie for this fight. There we go. I think I usually like Diddy because of his faster throw. But people, generally I get into like a better rhythm with Dixie. I don't know. She's not as fast and not as maneuverable. But especially for that third phase, I do want her. Because being able to avoid the purple... stuff is important. Alright, that's phase 2 done. Well, that's easy enough to avoid. We could just turn invisible. He does that. Oop, got hit. Well, we're on our own for the final one. Nope. Got reverse controls. This isn't over yet. But it's not exactly pleasant. There it is. Yeah, if you're not far enough away from him, that almost always happens as soon as the reverse controls lets up. And that's the last hit of the fight, too. That's the worst part. Well, it's the last hit you make, but it's not the last hit he makes. That's certainly possible. Yeah, that final phase is a doozy. Whoops. Well, as soon as I finish this, I'll have another... Yeah, as soon as I finish this, I'll have another one in the tank. Alright, one more go around. So, I guess I should explain what each of these do. The first blue one freezes you in place. You gotta mash to get out of it. Then the second one, slows you down. And the third one reverses your controls. I almost always get hit by the third one. There we go. And here comes DK breaking out of his shackles to give K. Rool the old what for. That jet slide should be a stash attack. Yeah, and he should be able to be invisible while he does it. And then he gets eaten by sharks! I knew you'd do it, Diddy, my boy. But how could you fail, having learned all you know from old Cranky here? Yeah, okay. You've rescued that lazy grandson of mine and dumped K. Rool in his own filthy swamp. Not bad for a novice. Of course, if I had been playing, I'd have made sure that K. Rool never tries a cheap trick like this again. I reckon I'd have found all the Krem coins and completed the so-called Lost World. Oh well, can't expect everything from your first game, can we? So mean, you can't finish the Lost World by this point. One more thing, how many of my special video game hero coins did you find? Real players such as myself would have found plenty, I'm sure. I'm only missing one, which I can't get because it's in Animal Antics. Let's see how well you did, eh? And I found 38 of them. It's a shame you miss out on the models for being good at the game here. Well, you only miss out on Link. Got a second screen about time too. Now shut up everyone while I read the results. Hey, not bad for youngin'. Of course, you're gonna have to find a few more. You won't be able to be as big hero as I was. Link could only find 29 of these. You only find 19, but Mario could find 39. You want to look at your limited progress on this screen, press the top left and right buttons while you're on any of the maps. So just press L and R. Now buzz off and see if you can find some more of my coins, which I very much doubt you will. And that's the main game. We get another cast roll, but this time it's at Clubba's kiosk. Look at this place, it's disgusting. I think that's a chest full of gold back there. On the left anyway, on the... But all the trees are dead, there's just little ferns everywhere, there's... Who knows what oil is being dumped into there. Boom, 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 boom. And for most people, that's probably where they stopped. I mean, it's not a bad place to stop. At least it's an ending. They're not waving that you didn't get the real one in your face. That's true. There were a lot of games that were like, you didn't play it on hard. Do it again. Cackle is probably the coolest Kremling in the entire series. My idea of difficulty is skewed. Yeah, I had DK too, but I also had Rayman. So I've just played this game so much that I'm used to it. It's one of those things, like I said this about the first game too, and I'm gonna say it about the third game as well. People really do struggle with these games. And like, I've played it so much that I just don't anymore. I just don't struggle with this game at all. I played through every level like once, maybe twice to pick up something I missed. But aside from that, yeah, I basically just did this all in one go. Took me about 2 hours. Even if you're bad at it, it's no comparison to the NES era. I will give you that. This game lets you save, it has progress, you know? It lets you, like, do things. You can go back to earlier levels to grind for lives if you want. So I don't mind. How hard Croc 2 was until I started replaying it. Mm-hmm. When I went back to the Donkey Kong Land games, I was struggling a lot with those. And I don't know how I'm gonna do Donkey Kong Land 2 and 3. I'm really not ready. I may end up finishing a playthrough and then, well, sometimes you gotta do a test playthrough to be ready. I did the test playthrough, but I'm not sure I'm ready. What I might do is I might just play through the whole game again, and then I'll load up my older file and play the Lost World levels from there, because that might just be the most doable way. Because then I'm not searching for everything and taking forever. Because my first playthrough took me 4.5 hours. At least in-game time. That doesn't count when you get a game over. And I did game over quite a few times. So I think I'll just do a playthrough of it tomorrow. And then I will load up my own... Then I will load up my old file and do it again. Maybe I'll give it another playthrough tonight, see if I can do better. Show us the Super Mario Club. That'll be near the bottom. Alright, now, so you remember those 99 lives I just had that would be very useful in a playthrough of the most difficult levels in the game? Yeah, I don't have them anymore. Because it reset the game back to the beginning, I'm down to 5 lives. That's a mean question, too, because it asks you in that one swanky quiz show, how many lives do you start the game with? Well, it's 5, technically, but the number shows 4. Because it's showing you how many lives you have in reserve, not how many you have total. Got one weird kid who called them extra guys dancing right now. Or extra mans. I haven't heard anybody call it that in a long time. Extra mans. Aside, honestly, if it wasn't for the squawk section, this level wouldn't be so hated. Because that's really the only difficult part. Maybe I'll be lucky and get the squawk section done correct on my first attempt. I do appreciate, though, in the GBA version of this, the save point is in the squawk section, as opposed to being on the squitter section like it is in the original. All right. So the trick to this section, if you're somebody who's like trying to do this for the first time and you're really struggling, don't only tap the button against the current. Don't try to like hold it in any particular direction. Let the wind carry you. Because the less you move, the more control you have over yourself. Well, I actually did the whole thing in one shot. Now I just gotta not die on the rattly section. Just... There we go. Alright, well, that's that then. Crocodile Core is left. He survived his encounter by being fed to the sharks. And now he's got a big attack for us. Honestly, it's not that bad. I would argue that this is easier than the first fight. Having the final boss phase just being one phase is kind of... Yeah, but it's a very long phase. And it is difficult. Well, that's that then. GG, no re. Nice going, kid. I reckon only a true video game hero would have finished it all. Let's get out of this miserable dump and get back to Donkey Kong Island. Meanwhile, back to see me again, hey Sonny. Let's see if you've improved your hero status, shall we? I'm not afraid to admit it, Diddy, my boy. Even I'm wrong occasionally. You're as big a hero as they come. You must take after me and Donkey. Well done. Cranky, you're not exactly a hero. Your repertoire includes kidnapping Pauline and kidnapping Pauline again. And that no bones about it, K. Rool, they just straight up say K. Rool survives. But hey, we blew up their island. And then he decided to be a mad scientist. If anything, the true ending is the one that's such a tease. Yeah. And that's Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Kong Quest done in 2.5 hours. Not bad. I did pretty decently for myself. Well, let's not stop this while we just got going. Tomorrow we're going to be doing Donkey Kong Land 2, which is almost a port of this game. It's kind of sad, actually. But we'll be doing that tomorrow, and then we'll be starting Donkey Kong Country 3 and Donkey Kong Land 3 on Friday, the 4th of July. God bless America. I gotta finish my playthrough of Donkey Kong Land 3 to get ready. But aside from that, I hope you all enjoyed. Have yourselves a very good afternoon and a good night. Thanks for sticking around with me through this. We will be... Yeah, and we'll be back tomorrow with more Donkey Kong stuff in preparation for